What if I told you that the best leaders aren't the loudest in the room? What if the secret to influence isn't about being more persuasive, but about being more perceptive? Today, we're diving into Daniel Pink's groundbreaking concept of attunement from his book To Sell is Human. And here's the thing, whether you realize it or not, you're selling every single day. You're selling your ideas, your vision, your decisions. The question is, are you any good at it? Let me start with a story that changed how I think about leadership forever. I was working with Marcus, a brilliant VP of engineering. Technically exceptional, strategically sound, but his team was struggling, and he couldn't figure out why. In meetings, Marcus would present perfect solutions. Logic was flawless. Data was compelling, but somehow nothing stuck. His team would nod politely, then go back to doing things the old way. The problem wasn't his ideas. The problem was his attunement. Marcus was solving the wrong problem because he never truly understood what his team was experiencing. He was focused on what he thought they needed, not what they actually needed. Sound familiar? Daniel Pink discovered that the most effective leaders, salespeople, and influencers all share one critical skill. They don't just communicate, they attune. Attunement is the ability to bring your actions and outlook into harmony with other people and the context you're in. It's about perspective taking, not just perspective giving. Think of it like tuning a guitar. You don't force the strings to match your preference. You adjust them to create harmony with the whole instrument. Most leaders are walking around with untuned guitars, wondering why their music sounds terrible. Here's what Pink discovered through his research. The people who are best at moving others, best at selling ideas, best at creating change, they all do three things differently. First, they increase their power by reducing it. This sounds counterintuitive, but stay with me. When you have more power in a situation, you actually become less attuned to others. You stop paying attention to their needs, their concerns, their perspective. The most influential leaders deliberately dial down their power and dial up their curiosity. Marcus learned this the hard way. Instead of presenting solutions, he started asking questions. Instead of commanding compliance, he started seeking understanding. What happened? His team engagement scores went up 40% in 3 months. Second, they used their head as much as their heart. Attunement isn't just about emotional intelligence. It's about cognitive empathy, the ability to understand how someone else thinks, not just how they feel. When you're trying to influence someone, you need to understand their mental model. How do they process information? What are their priorities? What keeps them up at night? I teach my clients a simple exercise. Before any important conversation, spend 5 minutes writing down 3 things from the other person's perspective. What are they worried about? What would success look like to them? What obstacles are they facing? This isn't about manipulation. This is about connection. Third, they practice strategic mimicry. Now, I'm not talking about copying someone's accent or mannerisms. That's just weird. I'm talking about subtle behavioral matching that creates rapport. Match their energy level. If they speak slowly and thoughtfully, slow down. If they're energetic and fast-paced, pick up your tempo. Match their communication style. If they love data, bring data. If they think in stories, tell stories. Match their values. If they prioritize efficiency, frame your ideas around efficiency. If they care about innovation, connect to innovation. The key word here is authentic. You're not becoming someone else. You're finding the version of yourself that resonates best with them. Here's what this looks like in practice. I worked with Jennifer, a CMO who was struggling to get buy-in for a major rebranding initiative. Her first approach? A 40-slide presentation full of market research and creative concepts. The executive team glazed over. Using attunement principles, she tried again. This time, she started with a simple question. What's the biggest challenge you're facing with our current brand? She listened, really listened. Then she connected each of their concerns to specific elements of the rebrand. She spoke their language, addressed their fears, aligned with their priorities. Same idea, same data, completely different approach. The rebrand was approved unanimously. That's the power of attunement. So, how do you develop this skill? Here are 3 practical strategies you can implement immediately. Strategy 1: the perspective audit. Before your next important meeting or conversation, take 5 minutes to audit your perspective. Ask yourself, what am I assuming about this person? What might I be missing? What would this look like from their chair? Most leaders skip this step. They walk into conversations with their own agenda, their own frame of reference, their own definition of success. Deliberate leaders audit first, then adapt. Strategy 2: the power check. Throughout your day, notice when you're in a position of power. Maybe you're the boss, maybe you're the expert, maybe you're the one with the budget. In those moments, consciously dial down your power and dial up your curiosity. Ask more questions. Listen more than you speak. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood. Remember, the goal isn't to be right. The goal is to be effective. Strategy 3: the mirror method. Pay attention to how others communicate and gently mirror their style. Not their words, but their approach. If they're analytical, bring analysis. If they're relationship-focused, build the relationship first. If they're results-oriented, lead with outcomes. This isn't about being fake. This is about being fluent in multiple communication languages. Here's what I've learned after coaching hundreds of leaders. The most successful ones aren't necessarily the smartest or the most charismatic. They're the most attuned. They understand that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions and really hearing the responses. They know that influence isn't about force, it's about harmony. They recognize that to sell is human, and to sell effectively, you must first understand what it means to be human. Your challenge this week is simple. Pick one important relationship or conversation. Apply the 3 strategies we discussed. Audit your perspective. Check your power. Mirror their style. Then watch what happens. Daniel Pink showed us that we're all in sales now. The question is, are you going to be good at it? Attunement is your competitive advantage. It's your secret weapon. It's your path to authentic influence. I'm Allison Dunn, and that's today's episode of Deliberate Leaders. Tune in to others and watch your impact amplify. Until next time, keep leading with intention.